Hey everybody, it's Durger time. Welcome back to our campaign for Total Extreme Wrestling 2016, Billy Corgan's NWA. Really excited about where it's all going right now. We had just had our first show, and only one person got injured, which was pretty cool. And we're going to see what the fallout of that was, and then we'll move on to our next show. So let's go ahead and do some bookkeeping here and see what we're looking at. So, week 3 of January. What's in the news in the world here? Chris Jericho's staying with New Japan. That's good. I wonder, is he pay per appearance or is he written? He's written. That's a shame. Nothing crazy here. Contract for Dolph Ziggler. That's not surprising. Injury for DJ Hyde. Yeah, injured wrestler DJ Hyde is reported to be considered working through the pain. So this is good. As you guys remember, DJ Hyde, unfortunately, there was a little bit of a botch, and he got I think it was a bruised rib, or a broken rib even, during our show. Yeah, broken ribs during the match last night. It's not serious enough for him to take time off, which is really good because if you guys remember, our entire tag team division is pretty much sidelined right now from injury anyway, so having one more person injured would not be great for us. Prince Puma is staying with Lucha Underground. Oh, good for him. Yeah. Wonder if he has any relation to Ricochet, who obviously is going to be in NXT in real life. I don't think in this right now he is signed up. I think this is a little because this is a January save. So we did modify some of the databases to update some stuff, but I didn't go crazy. I added some stuff just to keep it a little bit more realistic. But I'm not that concerned. We're going to be pretty quickly altering the future of the wrestling industry anyways, as we take NWA further from his regional status upwards. Now, we did lose money this month so far, but I'm looking at this, and a lot of that came from our production costs. Unfortunately, we had to increase our production because we were way behind from everybody else. We do currently, so if we look here, we're now high-quality, professional, industry standard, and minor license. It's still costing us a lot. It's costing us $15,000 a month, plus $5,000 per show for high quality production values. It's costing us $20,000 a month to run a professional live event experience, plus $5,000 per show. Another $20,000 for industry standard broadcasting, but that's just a flat month fee. And it's costing us $7,500 per month in licensing fees for minor licensed music. So overall, we are being charged $10,000 per show, plus it looks like another about $30,000 a month. So, we made $43,000 just in ticket sales. So I think we're going to be okay. We might even want to look at potentially starting an actual show. Right now, what we have scheduled is we have 2 monthly shows for 2 hours, and then we're going to be sprinkling in a third, like more of a slightly larger super show every month or so. So we'll run 3 events. Currently, we have them all broadcasting through CW, for some reason on a pay-per-view program, but that's what they were willing to give us. We have 11 months on that. They're a medium viewership, so this could be really good for us. Though if I recall, we didn't get a lot of viewership from it before, but maybe that'll grow. So perhaps maybe we won't do a show quite yet, and maybe we'll continue to run the event promotions. It might cost just too much money to run a show, but this will work out. So we do have 13 days away from the road to championship wrestling. If you guys remember how we're going to be running NWA for now, is we have 2 2-hour events every month, plus a super show. So the road to championship wrestling is sort of, the basically almost like a first half at the beginning of the month of a regular show, and then championship wrestling starts at the middle of the month, and that's going to be a 2-hour show, and then we will have a 2.5-hour show at the end of the month, a week later, that will sort of be our slightly larger, bigger show that everything will lead into. So we still have our full crew here. Some people are still injured. Let's go ahead and take a look at just our creative meeting here, I guess, to see what's going on. Ashley Vox still not much has changed here. What's hot, what's not? James Storm, CJ. Oh, Momentum very low, very low. Well, this makes sense because these are all the guys that just lost. Now, we did have to deal with our tag team issue because currently, I believe Sigmund is injured. I believe Skyler might be injured. So we did add a fourth tag team, to us. Obviously, we have the best friends with Trent Beretta and Chuck Taylor. But we added a new one because we just found out that they had some good chemistry in our last match, which was CJ Robinson, also known as Juice Robinson, in New Japan Pro Wrestling. And previously in NXT, he was CJ Parker, the weird kind of heel hippie. We combined both and made him CJ Robinson. And he has great chemistry when he was teaming with Jimmy Jacobs. So we made them a new tag team. They're a unit working together. They're both mid-carders in our field, and they might be pretty good for us. And we're going to call them Gin and Juice. Because obviously he's Juice, and I don't know, maybe Jimmy likes some gin and tonics. I wouldn't be surprised. But we'll see how they work together. I mean, we know they had good chemistry together, and maybe they could develop each other. Jimmy Jacobs is a little bit more experienced than CJ, so maybe even pairing them together might actually produce some nice talent pool, and they might be able to work well together and maybe even grow CJ into an even better wrestler. So, I mean, not looking bad there. Titles are still empty. So we still have a junior heavyweight title that is vacant. Our world heavyweight is still Nick Aldis. Our tag team champions are Sigmund and Elliott Russell, with Sigmund injured, so we're going to have to deal with that. And our women's division is still empty. Let's go ahead and go forward to our next show. All right, guys. Looks like we are back here and ready to go with our second show, which is the Road to Championship Wrestling. We don't have much going on here. It's the first week of February. $30,000 loss for January, but a lot of that had to do with, the cost that we had for production. So I think we'll be okay. We'll have to take a look at where our money situation is, and we'll maybe have to worry about some of the big names that we're using. Without further ado, let's go ahead and run the show and see how the Road to Championship Wrestling goes. So we start off with Billy Corgan here. He announces the competitors in the middle of the ring for the junior heavyweight tournament and praises their skills in the ring. And he says that it's going to be Rory Gulak, Will Ospreay, Marty Scurll, and Tyler Bates for the first ever junior heavyweight tournament that will be happening at Championship Wrestling in 2 weeks. E-, he did okay. I think we have a gimmick change for him set up. Yep, we're going to give him a gimmick. He didn't have any fan favorite. Might be okay. Let's go ahead, take a look. Let's see, gimmick. Awful. Oh, Corgan. Everyone loves Smashing Pumpkins. Come on. How did that go awful? I don't know. I don't know about that. Well, we'll have to deal with it later. I'm sure we'll deal with it. It'll be fine. All right, let's go ahead and we got a little exhibition match. Apparently it was terrible between Bull James and Chris Dickinson. Bull James defeated Chris Dickinson in 6 minutes and 23 seconds. Cocky, below average. Yeah, that's fine. Bull James really off his game. What are you doing, dude? Come on. And these guys are pretty similar in stats. I think Bull James is technically a little bit better. But remember, Chris Dickinson is sort of our diamond in the rough. And what's interesting here is that they both have great chemistry. So, maybe there's a little bit of a storyline we can build between these two guys. If they can play off each other and maybe both improve in the ring together. E+, they're not far off from each other. And this is pretty much about what we were expecting from these guys. Let's go ahead and we have a little angle here. Bull James brutally attacks Chris Dickinson after the match, repeatedly stomping him into the ring. Eventually, he breaks off and grabs a microphone to address the audience. He complains of how nobody has ever respected him in this industry, whether it was in NXT or whether it was elsewhere in Indies, and he thought the NWA and Billy Corgan would be different. He said that this is proof now at this show, having been left off the junior heavyweight tournament and stuck where he is, especially given the spotlight for some indie darlings. And it's proof that nobody in the NBA and the NWA, especially Billy Corgan, cares about true talent, which he has. And if they want a problem child in their roster, then he can give it to them. Got a D-. He did pretty good here. Good personality, really boosted it up. It's about what we expect. So we know Bull James is a little bit mad now. We'll see how that plays out in the future, but he's definitely upset about everything going on, especially having been left off the junior heavyweight tournament. I don't think a junior heavyweight, but whatever. All right, we have another match. This is the first of our qualifier tournament for the junior heavyweight that's going for the finals that are going to be occurring at the championship wrestling show in 2 weeks. It's a decent match. Marty Scurll defeats Tyler Bates in 12 minutes and 49 seconds by a countout. Marty Scurll got a degenerate gimmick that got rated as awful. He's getting better at the gimmick, though. Tyler Bates has a legendary face gimmick, which makes sense. The crowd got buzzing from this, and they both did about D+ and a D-. Marty Scurll was a little bit weaker of a performer, but seems like he did some shady business. He got a count-out victory, so Tyler Bates didn't necessarily get... more got it stolen from him by Scurll than necessarily Scurll defeating him through sheer talent. But nevertheless, Marty Scurll moves on to the finals of this very small tournament. Now, next, after the ring clears, Sami Callihan comes out to address the audience about the vicious attacks that happened to him by Josephus last show. He says that Josephus is a coward and a lunatic and demands he comes out to explain his random actions. He says, "You're not some type of spiritual leader. You're just a loon who spent too much time baking in the Reno heat." Eventually, Josephus does come out onto the stage and stares him down. Callihan motions for him to come into the ring and fight, obviously angry, red in his face. But instead, Josephus just shakes his head, smiles, and walks backstage. It's got an E+ rating for this segment. Crowd got hotter from it. They really are into the idea of Callihan, this loose cannon goth punk asshole, basically going forward against this pretentious cult leader who's enigmatic, and his motives currently with Callihan are a complete mystery. We go forward with a tag team match. This one is actually a qualifier for the number 1 contenders for the tag belts. We had the Bruiserweights versus the Gin and Juice. Subpar wrestling, a little heat. Gin and Juice defeat the Bruiserweights in 13 minutes when CJ Robinson defeated Corey Hollis with a pinfall. CJ seemed off his game. They showed excellent chemistry together. I think these guys are going to be our dark horse tag team because they seem like they work really well together. D- from Skylar, E+ from Hollis, D and D- from Jimmy Jacobs. Overall, not a bad match. We have Angle just playing out, showing that they are celebrating their victory, have becoming number 1 contenders for the tag team championship. Next, we have a video package where we see, mysteriously, Paul Pinky George III, remember, the grandson, the rich, spoiled brat of the founder of NWA, Paul George III, or Paul George I, sorry, somewhere backstage on the phone with a mysterious individual. We don't know who he's talking to or what he's talking about, but he's on the phone with somebody. Next, backstage as well, we move ahead and we go to Tim Storm, who enters Billy Corgan's office. And he asks him about having an opportunity to have a rematch with Nick Aldis for the NWA Championship. Tim Storm had lost the belt in December to Nick Aldis, having held it for, I think, a year. And ever since then, people have been brutally telling him it's time to retire, it's time to pack it up. NWA's been moving forward, and you're a relic for them for a time before Billy Corgan's NWA, and maybe it's time to hang it up. Go be a teacher. Go do some high school mathematics. You're done, Storm. It's over. And he says fans say he should just retire, and he needs to prove to everyone that he still has what it takes. There's a hint of desperation in his voice. That's all I have left, he pleads in a really sincere moment. Corgan kind of pauses for a second, and he looks empathetic. He tells him there's a lot of people on the top of the card who deserve a shot too. There's a lot of new people here that are really talented. But he says, you know what? If you're willing to prove yourself, you can defeat your opponent tonight in the main event. I'll let you have a title match on our first super card for 10 pounds of glory. Storm is elated, very happy, and we move on from there. Next up, we have the other semifinal for the junior heavyweight tournament. We have Will Ospreay and Rory Gulak. It's a subpar wrestling match with little heat. Will Ospreay defeated Rory Gulak in 12 minutes 17 seconds with a 6:30 splash. I was a little worried about this match because Will Ospreay's been feeling a little pain, but it seems like he did okay, even though this was a high spots match. Apparently they have great chemistry together too, which is really good. Ospreay D+, Rory Gulak with an E-. D, it's not bad. So of course, Will Ospreay and Rory Gulak move on to the Will Ospreay moves on to the finals, which means that at Championship Wrestling, the match for the first ever NWA Junior Heavyweight Championship will be between Will Ospreay and Marty Scurll. And there we go. Now let's just put over the fact that we'll be seeing Will Ospreay take on Marty Scurll in the future. Pre-booking? Nah, we don't need to do that. We're fine. I'm good. No, I'm good. Thank you. We have a little bit of exhibition match after having gone out there. Joseph Brody comes back out in a match with Kahagas. It's terrible, but he beats him in 4 minutes by submission. He's getting better at his gimmick, which is good because if I remember correctly, he got really poor ratings for his gimmick last time, which was crazy. They're turned off between jobbers. We got to change people's perceptions of Josephus because he really is a lot more talented in the games, having him look to be here right now. They brought the crowd down a little bit. They both got an E rating, so we'll have to look at maybe developing his skills a little bit more. Match is over, and Kahigas is left down. Joseph Brody is celebrating, and then stops. He's still on the ground. He attacks him and beats him into the canvas. And finally, in our final match of the night, in the main event, Eli Drake takes on Tim Storm for a shot, an opportunity for Tim Storm to wrestle for the belt as in a rematch against Nick Aldis at 10 Pounds of Glory. In a bout, had decent reaction from the crowd, but some tar wrestling. Tim Storm, in fact, defeats Eli Drake in 21 minutes by submission after blatantly cheating. See, Tim Storm's getting desperate, and despite putting on a good performance, he distracted the ref, and he clearly did something to one-up Eli and ended up getting him into a submission hold illegally. And, once the ref kind of didn't notice what happened there, he ended up winning, having forced to submit, forced to tap out. Tim Storm does, in fact, go on to participate in 10 Pounds of Glory. Eli Drake looks like he sustained a hand contusion here. That's not that bad. Got the crowd hotter. Eli Drake had a D+. Tim Storm had an E. Now I know Eli Drake is a little mad at this match. I've had to force this through because he was furious that he was going to job for Tim Storm. Despite me trying to make him still look strong and still make it a cheating angle, he was still very upset, and we're going to have to deal with that in the future backstage. But for now, that is what happened. And finally, after the main event, Nick Aldis comes out to the stage and stares down Tim Storm, holding his belt in the air with a show of dominance. Before turning back around, a mysterious mountain of a man shows up and attacks Aldis. It is Ryan Reeves, the Silverback. Because legally you can't call him Ryback on NWA, but I'm pretty sure that's owned by WWE. I don't know. He slams him into the ramp and then enters the ring to stare down Storm. Billy Corgan comes running out looking confused and completely bewildered by what just happened, and why Ryan Reeves is even here at NWA. A cackle is heard, and Paul Pinky George III comes out and just kind of gives a smirking shrug to Corgan. You have your champion, he says off the mic, shouting out at him. Looks like I have mine too. Perhaps this is who he was talking to over the phone. So we're left with them at the end, kind of just staring off. And it looks like Ryan Reeves is here as a dominant powerhouse. Tim Storm has finally gotten his chance to have a rematch. Nick Aldis has a lot to contend to, and it seems like the tension between Paul Pinky George as the rightful heir of the NWA and Billy Corgan as the CEO seems to be heating up, and we're not quite sure what's happening here with Ryan Reeves and Paul Pinky, but it doesn't look like it's anything that will be good for them. Obviously, we have moved on our owner versus founder storyline, and 10 Pounds of Gold, Nick Aldis and Tim Storm has gone forward with this as well. And that was our second show. So we have next going forward actual championship wrestling, and then of course our first super card, which is 10 Pounds of Glory. Increased our popularity in 9 regions, which is not bad. Tim Storm was slightly overused, and Joe Sprody was used too much. That's probably true. So a little bit weaker of a show than what we had. Also, I think it dipped below our minimum expected rating for a pay-per-view, but it did gain us some popularity. Not having some of the bigger names on here probably hurt us a little bit, but it needed to happen for the story to go forward. That's fine. Let's make a speech. I want to call out, I think, Uri Gulak. Let's point out as a good example. Now, I know Eli Drake is really mad at us, so let's give him, let's just praise, just tell him that he's awesome. Maybe he'll be happy with that. And Tim Storm, well, you did good. Point out as a good example. You did great. Uri Gulak, you're pleased. Eli Drake seems pleased. Tim Storm's pleased. We should be okay. I think good start. Some interesting things happen. Let's see what our money situation looks like. Now, we didn't use as many bigger name people. That we did have Ospreay and other people. So I think our money situation is going to be good. But I have a feeling that our broadcaster's a little upset with us. Let's see. CW's unhappy. Yeah, did not meet their minimum requirements. Well, too bad. Still low buy rates. I don't care what you have to say, Ryan Reeves. You know, I just brought you in for the show. Be happy. Don't start shit with other wrestlers already. Eli Drake is injured because Tim Storm botched it. Jimmy Jacobs needs some time to heal. Man, everyone's just injured. This is just a show where everyone's hurt, apparently. But, you know, overall, how mad are you? That's what I want to know. Eli, do I need you to like squash someone? He's angry. You're angry. Furious at booking. Yeah. How about this? Have $1,000 and shut up. Does that make you feel better? You're just annoyed now. I could deal with annoyed Eli Drake. And finally, let's just look at what our momentum is. B-, which I think is actually going down. So we need to look at that. This month, performance, $4,000. Ticket sales were good. Still costing a lot of money, though. We definitely need to grow this up because we're going to hemorrhage money. I mean, I think we're using our roster right. We just maybe need to look at getting a larger broadcasting deal. I mean, yeah, there are just the cost that it's taking just for production is going to kill us. But there's no other choice. I mean, otherwise we just look bad. But overall, we still are growing in popularity. We're still moving the storyline forwards. Most everybody's happy with us. Not everybody's that angry. I think Eli's the only one that's really upset, and we can deal with that. I don't think we have a problem with that. We'll give him something nice to do. We'll make him happy by the next show. I can to do the old Triple H. He's like, I owe you one, bud. You know, we owe you one. It's fine. We'll take care of you. Don't worry. Anyways, guys, thanks for joining me again. That was the second show ever. We're moving forward. Tell me what you think in the comments below. And thanks for watching. I'll see you guys again. Thanks.